There is a machine the West spent 7 years making sure China could never buy. A machine so critical that 3 governments rewrote their export laws just to keep it out of the country. And last week, China started mass producing its own version. Not a prototype, not a lab demo, actual production, with the first units already heading to China's 3 most important chip makers. The company behind it is a state-owned player almost nobody has ever heard of, backed by a hidden network that reaches all the way to Huawei. This is the story of the forbidden machine, the secret team that built it, the one detail that changes everything, and the even bigger machine hiding right behind it. Subscribe to the channel and let me explain, because here is what most people miss about the chip war. It was never really about chips. It was about one class of machine, lithography, the machines that print circuit patterns onto silicon. Whoever controls lithography controls who gets to compute. And for the last 2 decades, one company has controlled it almost completely. ASML, a Dutch firm from a small town called Veldhoven, and one of the most valuable technology companies in Europe. The numbers are almost absurd. ASML holds around 90% of the entire lithography market. In immersion lithography, the specific technology this story is about, its share is 98.7%. Over 1,300 of its immersion systems are installed around the world, and in recent years, roughly 92% of all newly added wafer capacity ran on ASML machines. Last year alone, the company pulled in 32.7 billion euros. One company, one town, practically the entire digital world flowing through it. And that made it the perfect choke point. In 2019, under pressure from Washington, the Dutch government blocked ASML from ever shipping its most advanced machines, EUV, to China. Not a single one ever made it into the country. Then, in October 2022, the US dropped sweeping export controls on chip-making technology. In June 2023, the Netherlands went further. ASML's most advanced immersion DUV machines, the TwinScan NXT 2000i and everything above it, would now need a government license to ship. Chinese fabs got a grace period until the end of that year, and on January 1st, 2024, the door slammed shut. By September 2024, even ASML's older immersion workhorses, the 197OI and 198OI, were pulled under Dutch licensing. Step by step, the ladder was raised until China was left standing at the bottom. But here is where it gets interesting because China saw it coming. Before the door closed, Chinese fabs went on the most aggressive buying spree in semiconductor history. In the second quarter of 2024, China alone accounted for 49% of ASML's lithography revenue. Across all of 2024, it was 41% of the company's system sales. In that 1 year, Chinese companies grabbed an estimated 90 immersion machines for $5 to $7 billion, roughly a quarter of the entire global installed base of that machine model. And that tells you the price tag, by the way, $70+ million per machine. Then the tap started closing, 41% in 2024, 33% in 2025. This year, ASML expects China to fall to around 20%, and every machine already inside China is aging. Every machine needs service, spare parts, calibration, and all of that can be switched off too, which left China with exactly one path: build the machine themselves. And that was supposed to be impossible. To understand why, you need to see what actually happens inside this thing. An immersion DUV machine prints chips with deep ultraviolet light from an argon fluoride laser at a wavelength of 193 nanometers. And here is the problem. Modern chips need features around 38 nanometers. So you are trying to paint lines 5 times thinner than your brush. It's like painting eyelashes with a broom. It should not work. Back in the early 2000s, the whole industry believed the answer was a new light source at 157 nanometers, and that effort collapsed. Then a TSMC engineer named Bern Lin proposed something that sounded almost like a joke: put water between the lens and the wafer, because at 193 nanometers, ultra-pure water has a refractive index of about 1.44. It bends light more aggressively than air ever could. That pushed the numerical aperture of the optics above 1, which physics says is the ceiling for a dry system, all the way to 1.35. And suddenly, 38 nanometer features became printable. The same effect that makes a straw look bent in a glass of water now decides the future of computing. ASML bet everything on that idea. Japan's Nikon hesitated, and ASML took essentially the entire market. But knowing the trick and building the machine are two very different things. Because inside that machine, a wafer is sprinting back and forth underneath a puddle of water while being exposed. One microscopic bubble in that water scatters the light, and thousands of transistors are dead. So the water has to be perfectly degassed, perfectly pure, its temperature controlled to within a few thousandths of a degree. The wafer stage accelerates harder than a fighter jet, then positions itself with nanometer precision. Two stages run in parallel. One wafer is being measured while another is being exposed, so the machine never stops. The newest systems align layer on top of layer with errors of around a single nanometer while pushing out roughly 300 wafers every hour, around the clock, for years. That's why, for 20 years, nobody else on Earth could build one. China's own champion, SMEE, spent 2 decades trying and got stuck around 90 nanometer class capability, technology from the early 2000s. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, this. On July 28th, Reuters dropped the story, China has begun mass-producing domestically developed immersion DUV lithography machines, and the company leading it is called Shanghai Aishengna Electronic Technology Group. Try looking them up. There is almost nothing. A little-known, state-owned entity that, according to the reporting, was assembled by absorbing the teams of China's top lithography startups. And when you trace who got folded in, the trail leads straight to a startup called Shanghai Yuliangsheng Technology. Founded in 2022, registered capital of 1 billion yuan, around $140 million. Staffed, according to the Financial Times, with large numbers of former Huawei engineers. And among its shareholders, SiCarrier, the Shenzhen state-backed equipment maker with deep reported ties to Huawei, running a lithography program internally codenamed Mount Everest. Here's the detail I find remarkable. The U.S. Commerce Department put Yuliangsheng on its entity list in late 2024. Washington blacklisted this company before most of the industry even knew it existed. Think about what that means. The U.S. government knew, and this wasn't happening in a vacuum. Since September 2025, SMIC, China's largest foundry, has been testing a Yuliangsheng immersion tool on real wafers. Chinese media reports describe Huawei and SiCarrier coordinating more than 3,000 researchers across lithography, deposition, and etch development. Beijing's third national chip fund alone put $47.5 billion behind the broader effort. This is not a startup story. This is a country running its industrial base like one giant project, pulling teams out of competing companies and fusing them into a single national machine. Even SMEE is moving in parallel, reportedly selling around 10 units of its own 28 nanometer class immersion system. And the Aishengna machine itself? By the reporting, it's a 28 nanometer class immersion scanner, comparable to ASML's older twin-scan designs, built mostly from domestic components, though some of the most critical parts still come from Japan, and delays at local suppliers have already slowed output. So the machine is real. It exists. It prints. But here is where the story splits from the headlines, because the numbers tell you what the announcement doesn't. The plan is roughly 5 machines this year. 5. Delivered to SMIC, to Huahong, China's number 2 foundry, and to CXMT, China's memory champion, where lithography demand is exploding. Around 20 more machines are expected in 2027. Now compare that to ASML. In 2024 alone, ASML shipped 374 DUV systems, 129 of them immersion machines. 5 versus 374. That's not a war. Not yet. And those 5 machines still face months of qualification, precision testing, stability testing, integration into running production lines, while trailing ASML's tools on performance and build quality. So why does this matter at all? Because of what sits inside this machine's reach. At 28 nanometers in a single exposure, it covers the class of chips the world actually runs on, the silicon in cars, factories, power grids, appliances. China already operates roughly a third of global capacity at those mature nodes. And that's before the real trick, multi-patterning. Here is how it works. If your machine can't print a pattern fine enough in one pass, you split that pattern into 2, 3, 4 separate exposures and stack them. Think of printing one photograph in 4 separate passes through the printer. If the paper shifts by even a hair's width on any pass, the picture is ruined. Every extra pass means another full round of lithography and etching. Cost stack, alignment errors stack, yield falls, and yet it works. In 2023, Huawei shocked Washington with the Mate 60 Pro, running a Kirin 9000S processor built on SMIC's 7 nanometer process. Printed on stockpiled ASML immersion machines, reportedly the NXT 2000i, of which there were said to be fewer than 5 in the entire country. Analysts cited by Reuters put the yields below 50%. Late last year, teardown specialists confirmed the next step. The Kirin 9030, built on SMIC's N+3 process. Technically China's most advanced node ever, though the analysis called it a stretch 7 nanometer rather than a true 5. The reported yields? Around 20%. The wafers? An estimated 40 to 50% more expensive than TSMC's equivalents, while TSMC was already reporting yields around 93% on 7 nanometer back in 2019. By any commercial logic, this is madness. But this was never commercial logic, because the customer is Huawei and the product is Ascend, China's answer to NVIDIA. SMIC is reportedly doubling its 7 nanometer capacity this year, targeting 1.6 million high-end dies for Huawei's AI accelerators. When the alternative is 0 chips, a 50% premium is a bargain. And this is the detail that changes everything, the one I promised you at the start. This machine does not need to beat ASML. It doesn't even need to match ASML. It needs to exist, because every wafer printed on a domestic machine is a wafer that no foreign government can switch off. The export controls were built on one assumption, that China cannot replace these tools. Every machine Aishengna ships is a crack in that assumption, good enough at scale with state money behind it. Is that actually enough to shift the balance? I'm really curious to read your take in the comment section below. Now, if you hold ASML stock, you're probably asking a very different question. So let's be brutally honest about what this machine is not. Analysts at JP Morgan put it plainly. Building a handful of machines is not the same as building machines that survive high-volume manufacturing, where what matters is yield, overlay, throughput, and reliability across thousands of wafer runs. A lithography tool doesn't earn trust in a press release. It earns it over years of running 24/7 without drifting by a nanometer. An independent analysis from the AI Futures Project in June put commercial-scale Chinese immersion DUV somewhere in the mid-2030s, a decade out. And ASML itself? The company just posted the best year in its history, 32.7 billion euros in sales, 9.6 billion in profit, and a record 13.2 billion euros in bookings in a single quarter, 7.4 billion of it EUV, driven by the AI boom. The Chinese decline is already priced into its own guidance. Killed? ASML is accelerating. But here is the part that should worry Veldhoven anyway. Machines compound. Every unit China ships generates learning about optics, about stages, about water, about failure modes, and that learning feeds the next generation, funded by a state that doesn't care about profit and supplied with a guaranteed customer that doesn't care about price. And there's an even more uncomfortable ingredient, the people, which brings us to the machine hiding behind this one. Because immersion DUV was never the end game. In December, Reuters revealed something extraordinary. Inside a high-security laboratory in Shenzhen, China has completed a working prototype of an EUV machine. The technology ASML never shipped a single unit of into the country. The prototype was reportedly finished in early 2025 and is now under testing. It generates extreme ultraviolet light at 13.5 nanometers, though it hasn't produced a working chip yet. It fills nearly an entire factory floor. And here is the wild part. It was built by a team that includes former ASML engineers, reportedly working under aliases, using components salvaged from older ASML systems bought on secondary markets, along with restricted parts from Nikon and Canon. Auctions of old ASML equipment inside China were still running as late as October 2025. A dedicated team of around 100 fresh graduates does nothing but reverse engineer components. Huawei is said to coordinate the whole web, companies, state institutes, thousands of engineers, and insiders literally compare the program to a Manhattan Project. The official target for working chips, 2028. Insiders say 2030 is realistic. For perspective, ASML started serious EUV development around the turn of the millennium and didn't see the first commercial EUV chips until 2019. Roughly 2 decades. China is trying to compress that with a running start built from salvaged hardware and hired expertise. Washington sees it. In April, U.S. senators introduced the Match Act, a bill to tighten chip-making equipment exports even further, naming SMIC, CXMT, Huahong, and Huawei directly. But step back and look at the pattern because there's a bitter irony here. Every restriction so far has produced the exact opposite of its intention. Sanctions on Huawei created the Mate 60. The EUV ban created the multi-patterning industry. The DUV ban created Aishengya. Each new wall handed Beijing the urgency, the funding, and the guaranteed customer that a domestic equipment industry could never have generated on its own. Export controls were designed to freeze China in time. Instead, they started a timer. Meanwhile, ASML sits in the strangest position imaginable, still selling roughly 1/6 of its output into the very country building its replacement, while its CEO points out that leading-edge customers are already migrating from multi-patterning DUV to single-exposure EUV, the one direction China cannot yet follow. So could this new Chinese machine kill ASML? Not this year. Honestly, not this decade. ASML's monopoly is protected by 20 years of accumulated physics that 5 machines cannot touch. But monopolies like this don't die from a rival's first machine. They die from time, from a competitor with unlimited patience, state money, captive customers, and zero pressure to ever turn a profit. The 5 machines shipping this year won't hurt ASML. Machine number 500 somewhere in the 2030s just might. And behind it, in a locked lab in Shenzhen, the real successor is already humming. The question is no longer whether China can build the forbidden machine. It's whether the West's greatest choke point now comes with an expiration date. I want to leave you with this. Was blocking these machines a masterstroke that bought the West a decade, or the very decision that guaranteed its monopoly ends? Drop your take in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, it took a lot of research and work, and the best way to support it is by sharing this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.